There's been a well-publicized push for Georgia voters to use absentee ballots this primary. The election officials touted them as secure and safe, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, and voters really responded. More than 1.5 million registered voters requested absentee ballots. According to the Secretary of State's office, 96% of those who ordered ballots did receive them. Counting is already underway in Fulton County. Workers were given special permission to begin before the polls closed because of coronavirus and the sheer volume of all of those ballots. By this afternoon, election officials reported more than 1 million absentee ballots had been cast. That's 20 times greater than the number of absentee ballots cast in 2016. Most of those, 880,000 or 84%, were mailed in. Cobb County leads the state in highest number of absentee ballots, with DeKalb close behind. Fulton, Cherokee, and Chatham counties make up the rest of the top 5. And in addition to the unprecedented number of absentee ballots, the primary was the first test run of the new voting machines in the state of Georgia. You'll remember in August of 2019, a federal judge ruled the state's previous electronic voting system was, quote, seriously flawed. Those machines had been in use since 2002, but after a series of lawsuits and allegations of voter suppression during the 2018 gubernatorial election, the judge ordered the old machines be retired by January 1st, 2020. 11 Alive is committed to covering the issues that most affect your life during this important election year. That's why our Decision 2020 team is working to bring you perspective and analysis on topics like voting issues and the economy. You'll find more under the politics section of 11alive.com.